Hi everyone, it's Alyssa and Kelly again, and this week we're going to be doing chapter 14 on performance management.
All right, so in this chapter, we're going to be talking about sport and performance, where to begin, building a performance management model from a stakeholder perspective, an input-output approach to performance management, a balanced and multidimensional approach to performance management, costs and benefits of a performance management system, designing a performance management model appropriate for sport, performance measures, and then some take-home points.
Okay, so some unique features of sport organizations. It's two models of organizational behavior: profit maximization and utility maximization. So more money, more profits, how to spend their money better in order to make more in return, better facilities and opportunities for employees, owners, sponsors, everybody involved. On-field versus off-field evaluation. So how are your players doing? And then how are your managers and everybody else involved doing as well? And the performance management model.
So where to begin? Strategic perspective, linked to vision, mission, and objectives. What is the purpose of the organization? So basically, that's your starting point. You have to figure out what your organization wants to represent, and like how your sport wants to be viewed and your team wants to be seen as. Pro teams profitable but unsuccessful, or even winning premierships but not profitable. So honestly, the people that make the most money realistically are the winning teams, except for the people that have like really devoted fans. So like figuring out that system, if you have a really good devoted fan base, like figuring out how to get out to the community and stuff like that is a good start.
So the stakeholder perspective, all of these people pretty much have the same end goal in mind. It's to win games and make more money, but they all have slightly different perspectives. So players and fans are going to have different perspectives on the job and the game. The players are playing for their jobs basically, whereas the fans, it's an interest to them. Employees, members, owners, everybody has a very different perspective in the function of the game.
So these are just the stakeholder expectation of the sport organization. So these are the types of people and players that are included. So players' expectations are the on-field success, appropriate pay and benefits, low injury rates. Employees, there's the same thing as the players with appropriate pay and benefits, job security, professional development. And basically these are just like the workers that are included. The fan base system has game quality and excitement, high win to loss ratio. So like if you're a winning team, the fans are going to want to come back. Civic pride provides role models for young adults. So like I said before, like a good way to start a good fan base is getting out in to your community and like just wanting people to be more involved.
So the input-output approach inputs efficiency with money and staff training. So that leads to staff performance. And then if you are very efficient with all of that, you're going to get quantity, quality, and cost benefits. You're going to be spending less money if you're keeping the same successful staff and using your money wisely.
And again, these are just an input-output approach to performance management in sport. This is just breaks it down more about what just Alyssa just talked about.
The balanced scorecard approach, balancing benefits that accrue to customers, suppliers, and employees. learning system, not a compliance system. So what can we do to make our staff and players more successful instead of them just giving them a set of rules and exactly what to expect from them, but more why we expect that. So the 4 dimensions, financial, customer, internal business processes, learning and growing perspective. How do we look to shareholders? Do they have a positive view of us, or are we doing something wrong financially that we need to correct? How do our customers see us? Along the same lines, just a little bit less financially and more with our morale, and are we winning games? Is there still excitement there for our customers? Internal business processes, what must we excel at? What are you going to do to keep up with the competition? And then how are you going to improve your situation and add value to your facilities and your players and all of your staff?
So the costs and benefits of PMS: balance control versus innovation. Core activities are linked to goals. So basically, what you're doing with your organization and your sport are linked to what you want your organization to overall represent and what your goals were to the start of the organization. Motivate employees for targets, and that's in any situation. You want to try to motivate your employees to get things done and want to get things done, and have accountability for that. Completes the management cycle and quantifies measurable outputs. So just really figuring out what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and what works for your organization is the best way to go about it.
So there's 9 dimensions of performance management. We're going to go over each of these in different slides. So we're not going to talk about them now, but there are 9 different ones we're going to talk about.
So the first one is wins and successes. Renewed contracts, winning business awards, winning tender, and public recognition. Like we've been saying, like, you're going to get a good fan base if your team is winning. And if you're renewing contracts with players, like the people like want to see more people coming back and recognizing that familiar face that's representing your organization and, like, frankly, your area. Winning just boosts your overall, like, criteria for your organization, and it helps a lot in the long run. So, I mean, it's hard to do, but it's a lot easier said than done. But if you're making that good team, making an effort to have really good players and just overall a great fan base, then you're going to have that extra boost than other teams do.
Financial stability, net assets or net worth, revenue, profits, ratio of profits to revenue, liquidity, cash flow, debt recovery, and debt exposure. So mostly responsibility with the money and keeping track of everything you're spending, and are you bringing in enough money? Are you receiving enough profits to be able to keep up with what your plans are as far as maybe building a new gym or replacing large pieces of equipment or whatever it is. Just keeping track of your finances so those that are investing in your business feel safe with their money.
Number 3 is market distribution, spread of catchment, size of catchment, spread of the media, and breadth of media coverage. So basically, if your name is getting out there, it's better for you. The spread and the size, like with today's social media, it's so easy to get your name out there. And if you, like, come up with new ideas for your organization, to get your, like, goals and your players out in the media, it's easier now than it was later on in the other days.
Market share, number of clients and members, the level of interest in your program, attendance at games, TV ratings, amount of print media coverage, corporate support, and government support. So obviously, this is pretty simple. We know more clients and members and higher interest and attendance is going to lead to higher profits. Television ratings goes along with that too, and having your organization be the face of a lot of media coverage and very supported all around is very important in the success of your organization.
Customer satisfaction, levels of service quality, ratings of services, levels of customer satisfaction. So basically, if the people around you want to come to your stadium or wherever you're playing, you want them to have a good experience, and they're going to tell other people about it if they do have a good experience, and making sure that the customers and the fans have a good experience are going to make them want to come back.
All right, internal processes, administrative efficiency, the productivity levels, recruitment processes, quality of people. When you're hiring, having a set list of expectations and goals and what your employees are going to be doing. Health and safety, absenteeism, accidents, trying to limit those issues that can be very costly and look bad on your organization if they're not taken care of or prevented properly. Success rates, wins per dollar spent, client costs. So are you winning enough games to keep up with the money you're putting into your games?
Product innovation, levels of product improvement, levels of customer, member, sponsor, and fan servicing, what is provided. So like I talked about before, you want the customers to have a good experience, but product can be pricey, and you want to have a good variety of stuff for people to buy, and you want somebody to rep your team sport outside of the stadium, and just providing stuff like t-shirts and maybe like little, I know when I go to Yankee games, I love getting the little cups because they all have the Yankee symbol on them, like just stuff like that. It's pricey, but it's worth it.
Staff development, so learning and their qualifications along with their development and increasing their responsibilities and output as they become better trained and more comfortable in their position. Staff morale and staff commitment. So well-prepared individuals show higher morale and higher commitment to the job. Poorly prepared and poorly trained individuals are going to have low confidence, low productivity, and probably be short-term employees.
And the last one of the dimensions is economic and other impacts. Numbers of visitors to an event, additional funds attracted due to an event, additional spending by visitors, impact on environment, noise and inconveniences, and rehabilitation costs. I know right now during the pandemic, this is probably the hardest thing that organizations are probably going to have to go through about who's coming, who's going, because I know like football stadiums just allowed fans starting to go, but it's not nearly as much people that were coming. But there's additional cost to that. You have to clean, there are cleaning companies are making a lot of money, but you have to spend it for people to be comfortable in the environment. If it's outside, if it's raining, people aren't going to want to go maybe as much. Noise and inconveniences. If there's a train going by all the time, it's loud. Nobody really wants to hear that when they're trying to focus on the sport and whatever's going on in your area.
Applying the PMS, measuring will give rise to specific areas to improve across all aspects of the business. So keeping track of finances, staff productivity, wins and losses. Those are all great ways to improve the business. And then you can they can ask themselves, where do we need to improve? Are we pulling ahead or at least keeping up with the competition? Where is our balance with money, time, and how can our employees become better? So goals, tasks, timelines, budgets, everything I just talked about. It's all the best way to make sure that they are constantly improving and keeping up with all of the other organizations competing with them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Information is made available to all employees, so the effect of their individual actions is clear. So employees know what their goals are and what is expected of them, how they're going to be trained, and how they can grow in their environment.
So performance measures: identify and quantify measures, collect data, analyze data, interpret data for management action, compare organization over time, compare with other organizations, domestic and internal. So basically keeping track of the economic growth of your organization, or if it's actually making money, making a profit, and analyzing what's going well and what's not working for your organization. So say you're not making money in one area, you got to focus on that one area and try to make it better, and see what new things you can do to make more money.
So just some take-home points. While the introduction of performance management systems into organizations may seem costly and possibly creates an administrative straitjacket for its staff, it can also bring substantial benefits. So the performance management system, like this says, it can be difficult to keep up with and make sure they're following all of those, not exactly guidelines, but kind of guidelines for their success. But in the long run, it's all going to be beneficial to make sure that they are following the path that they want to be following. A sport organization that does not provide a systematic evaluation of its performance would be derailing, to its stakeholders. So if stakeholders can't remain comfortable and have trust in the administration the organization to do big things with their money and keep their money safe and make them money, then it's not going to be a success and nobody's going to be interested in the organization. So the real question, what form and shape should the performance management take? There's no one best performance management system. Every organization is going to need something slightly different depending on what their goals are and what they have to put into the organization. But a good starting point, Kaplan and Norton's BSC, then customize it to fit the criteria. At all times, measure should be quantifiable.
Oh, and that's the last one, sorry.